Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 14 of What If Naruto Became the God of Lightning. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Blue-Eyed Uchiha Elite. And enjoy that guys on this channel. And remember, if you're new, to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become a part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all for your help and your support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new. I'll be replying talking back to all of you. So yeah, without further ado, what do you say begin this new episode? Start the intro. So, the last spot we left off, as Samui made her way down to face off against Neji, as Neji was quite brutal about his act right here. He wanted her to pay, despite not being involved. He wanted her to suffer. After all, Kumo was the village that took his father away from him. He did not sprout anything about fate as he attacked her with a new fury. His attacks were precise, brutal, quick, fast, as he was aiming for the death blow. But Samui showed him why she was one of the strongest genin in Kumo, as she found a way to counter his strikes by adding lightning to her palms. She had a strong affinity for lightning, not as strong as Naruto, but her affinity was rather strong, as she was able to manipulate the lightning to certain degrees. As she clashed with Neji, she ended up holding on to him and electrocuting him, as Neji fall down unconscious as she won her match. It seems that the famous Hyuga style was just a block. After all, their style was not a secret. Fast precision points to nullify a person's chakra. So as long as she didn't get hit, well, she did get a few scratches here and there, but nothing too dangerous. As she made her way back up to the box, where Naruto congratulated her. Well, in their ways of talking, the way the both of them kind of rose each other up. As Naruto's match was next, as he made his way down to face off against Gaara. Gaara looked bloodlusty as he looked at Naruto. The both of them made their way down there as everyone was on the edge of their seat. The Fire Lord, youngest daughter Zana, shouted for Naruto to carry on, for him to win this. As the man simply smiled at his daughter. She knew that was not the proper way to go about things. After all, she was a daughter of a daimyo, but she was just so cute. As Naruto began his match, Gaara went in for the brutal attack. Everyone watched as the battle was more epic than any battle that has taken place so far, as the Raikage noticed Kiba blades, but the Hokage said nothing about them. As both him and Naruto clashed, tearing apart the arena, as Naruto ended up using an attack to slam into Gaara's chest. Gaara was sent sailing as Naruto literally teared through his sand. Gaara exploded in a rage as his body started to transform. He released a wave of sand that Naruto burst through, but he then dropped a sand hammer on Naruto as he dropped it once again, only for Naruto to explode right out of it as his body was cloaked with two tails behind him. He literally called lightning from the heavens as they came down towards his hand, creating a dragon, a vicious dragon as he rushed forward. Gaara's sand could not stop it as he blasted right into Gaara. Gaara was sent sailing as he smashed into the wall as he passed out completely cold. Temari and Conqueror knew what was going to come next. Before Naruto could do anything, the invasion started. Before Genma could announce Naruto the winner of the match, as Gaara erupted with sand, Shikaku taking full possession, seeing that Gaara was unconscious. As he came out happily, Shikaku quickly grabbed Naruto as he held on to him. As it was so fast, the sand had coiled around his feet. As Kurama, Naruto allowed him to take a bit of control. It was hard to do so because of the seal in place, but because it had loosened, he was able to take influence over Naruto. as he spoke to Shikaku. Shikaku was going to make him suffer just because he was inside of him. After all, he was always bullying him. But before that could happen, Samui sliced the sand arm off with a potent lightning attack as Shikaku reeled back in pain. As she looked at Naruto as the Raikage told her that you were supposed to help Konoha. As Naruto thanked her for that, as she told him to go and kick his ass. After all, he had the strongest Bijou, so he should be able to defeat the Shikaku. But Naruto knew that he couldn't fight here inside the stadium as he started to change. As everyone felt the malice, corrosive chakra as lightning reeked off his body as his skin started to burn off. A wicked smile came on his face as he looked towards the giant form of Shikaku, who looked down at him, ready to rip him apart. So yeah guys, that's basically that's what I thought. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So what do you say begin this new episode? The Raikage found himself trapped within a barrier as he and the Hokage leaped to the roof because the stadium was full of explosions and the box suddenly erupted in a purple gas. So him and the Hokage jumped towards the academy roof where they were trapped inside a barrier. Anbu tried to touch it, but he was incinerated from the outside. So they knew not to touch it from the outside. The Raikage looked around as Samui, Darui, and C was already there. Boss, Darui said, what should we do? The Raikage looked over as he saw Orochimaru removing the Kazekage clothing. As he looked at Sarutobi, to see the man already decked out in his armor. Kumo and Konoha as already have beef in the past, always, well, not being fully united because they always have this aggression between them. They had a pact of neutrality but nothing too stable. He was not involved when it came to taking Hinata. After all, that was his father. He was not involved in taking the bloodline even though he also wanted Kumo to be known as the strongest. But still, this gave him an opportunity. After all, despite not saying it out loud, Konoha was the strongest in the village. In all of the wars, Konoha has always come out on top. And not to mention, as the Raikage saw that boy down there, lightning dancing off his body. Go and help the Konoha ninjas, he said. As Sarutobi turned towards him, he gave him a nod of acknowledgement. What about you, boss? Asked Darui. I'll help the Hokage. After all, I have a beef to settle with that man, he says. He looked towards Orochimaru. I knew you were the one that entered my village and influenced the previous 8-year hosts. Orochimaru licked his lips. So you found out about that, huh? Well, I guess 2 is better than 1. With Kumo leader falling, the village would be up for grabs. The Raikage simply shook his head. And how exactly are you gonna do something like that? Do you even think you're gonna get out of here alive? Orochimaru smirked, once again licking his lips, showing how extremely long his tongue was. Before he could say something though, there was an arc of explosion. Lightning riddled the air and cracked through the sky. The sky darkened even more as everyone felt the malice, the corrosiveness of that chakra. The Raikage could feel his skin tingling despite being in the barrier. As he felt it, the potent density of the chakra illuminating the entire place. So this is the power of the 9 tails, huh? All of them looked down as they saw inside of the arena. Meanwhile, as all of Naruto's friends were shocked, as the amount of malice, the amount of corruption and power they were feeling. Sakura remembered when he was fighting on the bridge, this was similar but this power was much more greater. Sasuke was in the arena along with Samui and a few others. As Kakashi had paused as he took out another Sound Shinobi and knocked a Sand Shinobi away. As Naruto had fully transformed, his body was made up of pure lightning as his skin was blue, crackling as he walked. As he looked towards Shikaku, you're not that powerful being in that small child body, Kyubey. So I'll crush you right now. Shikaku brought down his arms, only for Naruto to twist like a geek. His entire body turned into a missile as he ripped through Shikaku's arms, tearing through his stomach. Shikaku winks in pain as Naruto landed. His eyes flicker all over the arena. Suddenly, his 4 tails behind him lashed out and tore into Shikaku's skin. Shikaku teared as he flashed around, but arms extended from Naruto's back and wrapped onto Shikaku, burning at his side. Something that always burned and caused the Tanuki great pain was Krama lightning as he screamed out in agony. It was then everyone watched as Shikaku was picked up, as the four-tailed fox grunted as he picked the Shikaku up from the ground and yanked before he tossed him straight out of the stadium, straight towards the forest of Konoha. Everyone's eyes were wide as the thing crashed down in the forest with a large boom. Shikaku screaming the entire time in pure rage. The four-tailed stood there. They couldn't tell what he was feeling, if he was tired or anything, because his face really showed no emotion. Just that wicked smile, that wicked grin, and those eyes that looked like death itself. "Naruto," said Kakashi as he landed down the arena. Naruto turned towards him with that snarl. "You have this, right?" As he simply looked at Kakashi up and down. Before he nodded. "Alright. Go and stop him," said Kakashi. As he knew if anyone could, Naruto would be the best option here. After all, what the girl up there said was true. A Jinchuriki against a Jinchuriki, the strongest one, will always win. With that, without a second thought, Naruto shot off. He scaled over the wall in seconds, his claws tearing into it as he was gone. Sakura stood there. She breathed out a sigh of relief as she ducked under a swipe from a sound shinobi. The man twisted his kunai and brought it down as he stabbed right into her. He started to pull back his hand, but he could not. He raised an eyebrow in confusion as her blood started to pour out on his skin. He started to scream as her blood was acid eating out his very skin, as the entire place started to melt around him, as it started to consume him, as his body started to burn away in agony. Outside in the real world, Sakura watched a man slump down to the ground as she placed him under her genjutsu. She might have been getting well with genjutsu, but there were a lot of them, as 3 sound ninjas appeared behind her as she turned, but they were brutally knocked away by Guy. He gave her a thumbs up before diving back into the fray as Kakashi appeared beside her, along with Kiba, Choji, and Shikamaru. As he looked towards Sakura, "I have a very important mission for you all," he said. Meanwhile that was going on, Sasuke was leaping from tree branch to tree branch as he made his way, as he wanted to see for himself what Naruto was fully capable of. He knew that she should be back there helping with the fighting, but he wanted to see what Naruto was capable of. And if anything, he could say that he was just helping Naruto, but he wasn't the only one. As he turned his head, "You're here as well?" As Samui looked towards him, but she did not reply. She simply looked up. It was then that she saw the massive tower. The massive tower of sand got back up to its feet as he roared, shaking the dense foliage as he looked around. "You would pay for that, brat," he said. "I'll make sure to kill your container so that you won't reform for a couple of years, making you suffer as chakra and agony," said Shikaku. As Sasuke paused in tree branch, he had no idea what the hell was going on. Samui saw the look on his face. "Don't worry, your friend has the strongest tail beast. There's no way that the Shikaku can defeat him, especially given that your friend has control over his power." Sasuke looked at her confused. "Tail beast? What are you talking about?" "I mean Naruto. You know he's a Jinchuriki, right?" Sasuke looked at her even more confused. "Wait, you don't?" Sasuke had no idea what the hell she was talking about. "What's a Jinchuriki?" "People with tail beasts inside of them," she said. How could he not know that? Hasn't Naruto used a power before around him or something? And isn't he seeing what was going on? "So that thing is a tail beast," said Sasuke as he looked towards a massive sand wall that was marching. "Yeah. And Naruto has one inside of him." "Yeah, the most powerful one. The Nine-Tails," she said. This wasn't her village. But how could his teammates not knew about his, well, status as a Jinchuriki? That was rather strange. She didn't understand. As Sasuke's eyes were wide, because he knew about the Nine-Tails. The fourth Hokage was said to have killed the thing. But how did... It all made sense now, as he remembered on the bridge, when Naruto used that power, that unbelievable power, that shook him to his core. So, he's a Jinchuriki, with a tail beast inside of him. Sasuke heard another roar, broke through the forest. as he saw something moving at speed beyond his comprehension. The thing slammed right into Shikaku's gut, throwing the giant tanuki back as he was sent screaming through the forest. Shikaku cursed as he got up as he slammed his massive hands on his stomach as several deadly air bullets was released from his mouth. One of them was enough to rip an entire foliage out of the ground. Trees, shrubs, stones, they were all torn. As Naruto flipped and twist, using his extra limbs to pull him away, as the wind teared through anything he came in contact with. He raised his arms up to the sky, as the sky started to get even darker over here. Shikaku looked up as he cursed. He's faced off against, he's clashed head against Kurama many times before. He never won before, but he knew some of his attacks, and he knew what he could do with lightning especially. He couldn't waste any time as he brought his hands together. Sand started to release from his body as he started shaped like a bullet. Sand bullets, he said, as they fire. Sasuke's eyes went wide and so did Samui's. The thing was tearing through everything. They have gotten too close, and they couldn't outrun that. They couldn't even raise their arm fast enough to perform a jutsu. As Naruto tilted his head and saw them, the both of them knew that they couldn't stop it. As they prepared for the worst, only to see a bright blue flash. The next thing they knew, Naruto was standing in front of them, the sand bullets slamming into him. But they were being ripped apart as they touched his skin that was made from pure corrosive lightning. He looked at the both of them as Samui looked at him. Sasuke was afraid, as he could feel the amount of power emanating from Naruto being so close to him, and he was afraid. He spoke, his voice sounded a lot darker than before. "Move," he said. The both of them understand the situation as they moved back rather quickly. As Naruto turned, "Just die already," said Shikaku as he raised his hands. His tail raised up in the sky as well as he brought his hands down as a sand shower was released. The thing came trampling the entire forest as he wasn't holding back anymore. Naruto simply held out both of his hands as his claw tips started to crackle with lightning before he pointed them forward. Rays of lightning exploded from the tip of his claws, shredding through the sun as they zapped into Shikaku. Shikaku cried out in pain as he was once again sent tumbling back. He roared in agony. "Not this time. Not this time when you're in a goddamn container will I lose. You're not even out here fully, and you're still beating me." He held his mouth up as he stopped wasting time and started to gather chakra above his head. Meanwhile, "What the hell is that?" said Naruto. "Remember I told you about that large-scale destruction jutsu? Well, ability that I know," said Kurama. "Well, that's a Biju bomb. You're gonna need to stop him from doing that. If you haven't noticed, the village is behind you. So if you can't stop him, that's gonna wipe out a large margin of the village and kill many people. But you have this. And what the hell make you think that? Well, you've been doing good so far and you're using my power quite well. So I'm just gonna sit back." And that is exactly what he did as he rested his back against a stone. Comfy," he said. "And relax," he said as he placed his arms behind his head. "You know, you can be a real asshole sometimes. Hey, I'm lending you my power, aren't I? At least tell me how to stop that thing. You've already started the process on stopping it. Just look up. I already told you that my body is a natural conductor for lightning, which you can bend at your will at this state. Well, you don't have full access to my power, but it should be enough. Let me inform you about something. The Tanuki has always been the weakest one out of us. And compared to my power, he paled in comparison. He's not even a threat. I can defeat him with a single swing of my tail. So hurry up and take him out." As Naruto's eyes snapped towards the Tanuki as a black ball started to build. "What the hell is that?" said Sasuke. "That's a Biju bomb. And if he doesn't stop it, we're all gonna die." Over to the other side of the bushes, Temari and Kankuro was watching what was going on. As the both of them never saw it got so bad before. The Shikaku was really pissed. Part of his body was still breaking out from the lightning attacks, and he was going to nuke the entire place. They couldn't escape that in time, as they could see the patch of red on his forehead that was Gaara unconscious there. Back at the village, the Raikage was cloaked as he once again ripped through the second Hokage and slammed his heel into the man's shoulder blade. As the man's top half was sent sealing as he kicked away the bottom half. The man landed as he was now furious, as he couldn't understand what the hell was going on. Orochimaru had somehow brought the first and second back, as ghosts, a forbidden technique. Their bodies, they were unable to be killed. He knew that they weren't as strong as their prime though, because as powerful as he is, it wouldn't be so easy to take on the second Hokage, a man who was refamed for his skills and talent and strategic thinking on the battlefield. As he watched the man reform once again, he sighed as he was going to have to take him down once again. They were going to have to find a way to stop this reanimation. Perhaps they should kill or... He paused as he saw Hiruzen place a hand on the reforming man's shoulder as a seal spread over the man's shoulder, stopping him in place. As it was a clone, he could tell that. "I'm sorry about the inconvenience I've caused you," said Hiruzen. "I hope that despite everything, you will keep this little peace going on." "Have you found a way to stop them?" asked the Raikage. "Yes." The man saw the look on Hiruzen's face. "This is going to involve in your death, isn't it, old man?" he said. Hiruzen nodded. "Yes, thank you for your help," he said. The Raikage said nothing as Hiruzen simply vanished with the man. As he looked over to where he saw the first Hokage being held by another clone, while Orochimaru was in front of Hiruzen as well, as Hiruzen was holding on to him as well. As a man who was going to risk his life for his village, after all, that was a duty for all Kages. As he stood there wasn't anything he could really do, as he had no idea what Hiruzen was doing, and how this, well, stopping them was going to cost him his life. He would just have to have faith in the old man. After all, if he did not stop them, well, they would run out of chakra, and the Edo Tenseis will win. Meanwhile, "What are you doing? Let go of me," Orochimaru said. "Sorry about the problem that we caused," said the first and the second, as their bodies break apart. Hiruzen gave them a peaceful smile as he watched them go back to rest. "You think this will solve anything? Let go of me," Orochimaru said as he cursed towards Hiruzen. Hiruzen already felt the weight of his soul slipping away. "I have done many wrongs in my lifetime. Things I tried to do backfiring on me. I spared your life back then. I never thought it would turn out so bad. We both know that I don't have the power to take your life with me, Orochimaru. I'm already dying as it is," said Hiruzen as he had a sword going through his stomach as Enma was holding on to the next point to not make it go any deeper as Orochimaru fired at the last moment. "But at least I can stop you for your quest of learning all the jutsus in the world. At least I can forbid you, take away your ability to harm my village." What are you doing?" Orochimaru could feel his arm starting to burn. Hiruzen smiled. "I'm sorry I failed you, my old student," he said. "Let go of me," Orochimaru said, as Hiruzen did. But the Shinigami ripped away the part of his soul connecting to his hands. Orochimaru's arms felt limp as they started to burn the agonizing pain. The moment Hiruzen fell though, the Raikage was upon Orochimaru within seconds as he brought his arm up. "Lariat," he said. He slammed his hand in Orochimaru's throat. Orochimaru's eyes went wide as his body was thrown, smashing into the barrier as he pressed out on it. Orochimaru's eyes turned towards Teiwaya as he quickly gave her the signal. As the Raikage was coming up on him, the barrier dropped. That was the only reason why Orochimaru's head went down as the Raikage fist ripped through the air. A second later and he would have died. Several arrows came peltering down on the Raikage. The man turned as he slapped them away, as they were from Kidomaru. Drobo came forward as he tried to punch Raikage. The man simply sidestepped Drobo and smashed a fist into his head. Drobo was broke into the ceiling as he crashed down into the academy. Seikon and Ukon had used the opportunity to grab onto their master as they started to flee. Teiwai quickly placed up a genjutsu, but the Raikage broke through it. Kidomaru quickly brought up a web of thick coating. The Raikage ripped through it with his lightning, Kitamara's eyes went wide. A battered Drobo came out of the hole, throwing a massive stone towards the Raikage. The man simply punched right through it. They couldn't stop him. But suddenly, something started raining down from the sky. The Raikage paused as it was explosive tags. At least 20 of them. Boom! They went off in an explosion around him. The mass envoy that dropped the tags quickly fled, allowing the sound team time to get away. The Raikage burst out of smoke, not even a scratch on him, with his body cloaked in lightning. All the snakes that were around the village were quickly sent towards the Raikage to stop him, as Orochimaru knew if the man that came after him now, and any other time in a good day, he would die. As any force they passed by, Orochimaru told him to attack the Raikage immediately. So that was the only reason why he escaped that day. If the Sound 4 was just a second off, all of them would have died at that moment. Drobo was barely keeping it going. Hold on, Fatso, said Teiwaya, as they needed him at the moment to quickly get Lord Orochimaru to safety. Orochimaru couldn't even talk, his throat was completely crushed from the Raikage's lariat, as his arms were burning beyond anything he could ever feel in his life. The pain was agonizing. He looked towards a massive Shikaku. Perhaps that was his one way of making sure Konoha fall. But when he saw the sky darken, every Konoha ninja looked forward as he saw the massive Biju bomb. Guy and Kakashi paused. Kakashi, that's yeah, see Kakashi. They were too far away to do anything about it, but they heard a roar that seemed to shock the heavens itself. 3 massive dragons made from pure lightning descended from the sky. The dragons twist into one. The thing was large. As Naruto brought it down with the power of the Kaido flowing through him, the power was magnified even more than before. As he didn't give Shikaku a chance, as the thing struck right into the Biju bomb and exploded prematurely. Shikaku's hand was blown and battered. Naruto brought his arms in front of him, but he was thrown. His body was thrown like a rag doll. Even Samui and Sasuke had moved back, but they were still caught up as they were thrown as well. Temari and Conqueror were thrown back as well. As the place was leveled, the explosion wiping out the whole section of that forest, completely gone. When the smoke finally died down, Shikaku was nothing but a plump of sand, trying to reform. To get back to his height, Gaara, still unconscious, as he was in the center like he was being held up by a podium. Naruto eyes Naruto towards him before he shot forward as he grabbed Gaara by the throat. Gaara's eyes instantly widened as the electricity burned his skin. As Naruto tore him straight out of the sand and tossed him, he slammed into a tree. Gaara opened his eyes confused as he looked around, as he looked towards the sand that was unable to reform now that he was awake. The spirit of Shikaku going back into the seal. Gaara heard a growl. Stay away from me. You won't take away my existence. Stay away from me, he said. As Naruto was marching towards him, the 4 tails behind him dragging on the ground, tearing trenches through it, his claws flexing, his sharp teeth, his fangs being shown as he growled. But then, his body started to change. The electricity started to give away the skin. Burned red skin that was being healed rather quickly. As he made his way towards Gaara, he stopped in front of him. As Gaara looked up at him. As Naruto reached forward, Gaara closed his eyes as he was too exhausted to do anything. But Naruto placed a hand on his head. Gaara didn't know what was going on as he slowly opened his eyes. It's okay. I'm not gonna kill you, said Naruto. Gaara was confused if it was him. If the situation was reversed, he wouldn't hesitate. He would just kill Uzumaki and get it over with. Look, Gaara, I'm also a Jinchuriki, so I understand what it must have been like to be all alone back then. Similar to me, the pain was unbearable, and the people hating you. For me, I didn't even know that I was a Jinchuriki, so that was even more hard. I have no idea what you've been through, but I can tell that it has been hard. I can see the bags under your eyes, you barely sleep. I can see that you're ever irritable. You're always on edge, always tense. Because you've been through a lot, Gaara, said Naruto. So I just want to tell you I understand. You're trying to take away my existence. Of course not, said Naruto, as he gave Gaara a smile. Look, you speak about existence and all that, but if you don't have people, what's the point of existing? What? You fight for yourself, I can see that. That is the only reason to fight, said Gaara. No, Gaara, you're wrong. If you don't have people to fight for, if you don't have people to help you fight, there is no point of going on. And you have people. I have no one. Well, look there. Gaara tilted his head as he saw his brother and sister coming. They were a long way off, but they were coming, as they were calling out his name. And perhaps I could be your friend as well. I mean, we're both Jinjokis. Both of us been through a tough life. You would be my friend, said Gaara. Yeah, of course. Why not, said Naruto. As Gaara looked at him, is that the reason why you're strong? Because you have people? Yeah. I have a really close set of friends. My entire team, my sensei. And this girl I like, said Naruto. Trust me, once you find these precious people of yours, you will get stronger as well. Gaara! As Naruto turned his head. Don't hurt him, said Temari. As Naruto looked towards her. As Naruto looked over the both of them. Don't worry. It's all over, said Naruto. The both of them knew that they could not take Naruto. Given from what he just shown, Gaara was the strongest one out of the three of them. So yeah, if Naruto could defeat Gaara like that, especially when he was transformed, how could they even possibly think to win? Go. What? I said go. Take him and go before the ninjas arrive. Quickly. You're letting us go? Yeah. I think everyone deserves a second chance, said Naruto, as he looked towards Gaara, really hoping that his talk had changed something. What he didn't know was that this was the talk that would change Gaara's entire life. Temari came over hesitantly, as she helped Gaara up, Kankuro keeping his eye on Naruto the entire time. The both of them helped him up, as they were gone without a second thought. As Naruto stood there, I won. Congratulations, kid. You defeated a Biju. Well, using my power. Yeah, well, next time I won't use your power. You'll have to become a lot stronger to be able to not use my power to fight a Biju. After all, you're pretty weak. Yeah? Stupid furball, said Naruto. Remember who's on the outside and who's on the inside. You know I can cut off my healing chakra, right? And make you feel every ounce of pain that you're feeling right now. You wouldn't. Say that one more time. I dare you. You blonde, squeaky mouse. Say it. Go on, say it. You know if I pass out right here and now, I might get attacked by enemies. And then I'll get free. A win-win situation. You wouldn't even dream of letting me get killed. You love me too much. And what the hell make you think that? Well, you just do. You know I'm gonna make you pay back for all of this back talk, right? And how exactly are you gonna do that, said Naruto? Oh, I'm not gonna take away your healing. I'm gonna find a way. And you're gonna regret talking to me like this. Funny. As Naruto started to fall, he was more exhausted than he thought, only to fall in someone's warm embrace as he was caught. He was confused. Was he so tired that he didn't even sense anyone coming? As he slowly opened his eyes. I guess you're not as weak as I thought, said Samui. As Naruto smiled at her. I guess I'm not. Here you are, saving me again. Once I'm out. Again? Come on. You were the one that saved me in the forest of death. Stop acting like you weren't. I have no idea what you're talking about. Seems like you're losing your mind. Did the Shikaku hit you so hard that you have no idea what you're saying? She asked. Yeah, said Naruto. Still, thank you. I knew I could count on you, he said, as he was gone, as he passed out cold. Transforming like that for so long had really taken a toll on his body. Sasuke landed. We should really get back, he said. Yeah, we should, she said. As Sasuke saw her smiling as she looked towards the blonde. He still couldn't believe what he heard today, as he had no idea that Naruto was a Jinchuriki. He didn't even know what a Jinchuriki was. But it all made sense now. But he thought the fourth Hokage killed the fox. That was weird. Perhaps it was placed inside Naruto when he was a baby. But why didn't his parents say anything about that? After all, it must have been placed inside him a long time ago. Come to think of it, Sasuke's mind was just railing as thoughts passed through his head. The fourth Hokage was as blonde as Naruto, the same blue eyes. Perhaps he was his father and no one knew. That is why he sealed within Naruto. Nah, he thought, as he started to walk off with Samui as he brought Naruto back to the village. Meanwhile, as Gaara was being carried by his siblings, too weak to walk by himself. Temari, Kankuro. Yeah, Gaara? The both of them said. I'm sorry. The both of them were completely shocked to hear those words from Gaara. So they were unsure what to say, how to really react. It's okay, Kankuro said. Yeah, said Temari. Confused as hell, Gaara saying that he was sorry. It's okay, she said. Perhaps Uzumaki was right, Gaara thought to himself. Time skip. As the rain was pouring down, the sky was barking. Lightning and thunder raged hard. He was the only one left. It was the middle of the night. He hadn't left. He just knelt there. Naruto was completely shocked when he heard the funeral happened the next day. Even the Raikage attended to show his respect. They hadn't left the village yet. He didn't know what was going on, but they were talking with the council, the Raikage. Samui was still here. She also attended the funeral as well. As Naruto couldn't believe that the old man was dead. And he found out that all of this was Orochimaru doing. As Naruto didn't even know what to think about that sneak anymore. The amount of rage that he felt, it's better if he just kept himself calm. As the rain was pouring down hard, he didn't want to go home. As memories of the old man greeting him and sharing fish with him and telling him stories flashed through his mind. His tears could not be seen because the rain was so heavy. As it washed over his body was soaked from head to toe. He refused to leave. People mourned differently, so no one objected to what he was doing. As he felt someone coming, but he did not turn, as he just looked at the grave in front of him. You know, you might catch a cold if you stay out here for so long. I don't get sick, he said. As an umbrella was placed over his head, as someone stood next to him. As she looked down at him, it was the middle of the night. She thought that he would have gone home by now, but she just came to check just in case. As his friends had stayed here with him for a long time, making sure that he was okay. But he was just, well, taking it hard. She could understand. Given the fact that she shook her head, she didn't want to think about that right now. As Samui looked down towards Naruto, you know you don't have to stay, I'll be fine. Yeah, I know you will, she said. You're a strong person who doesn't let much put him down. But something like this is different. Something like this is hard. And what would you know, said Naruto. For once there was no play in his tone. His voice sounded utterly serious. She knew that he was taking it hard, so she did not blame him for that. I've lost someone as well. More than one, she said. But this isn't about me. And you can lash out as much as you want against me. Be as angry as you want. Curse at me if you will. If it will take out your anger on what happened. But you should know you shouldn't blame yourself. There was nothing you could do to stop this. You wouldn't even been able to get inside the barrier. So it's best if you don't think about it that way. Besides, all you need to do is get stronger. So that when the day finally arrives, you can kill that snake bastard for what he did. You can make sure you'll be the one to take his life. To make sure that he paid for doing all of this. As she sat down beside him, holding the umbrella over the both of their heads, as their shoulders were touching. As Naruto turned towards her, "Why are you doing all of this?" he asked. She gave him a small smile. Simple. I don't like to see people I like get hurt. Because of the state that he was in, he was barely registering the words that she said to him. As she just told him that she liked him. The both of them had, shown interest in each other before, but it was just, bantering, and nothing too serious. She placed the umbrella on his shoulder as her hair started to get wet. "I'll be leaving tomorrow," she said. "I'll be coming by to say goodbye." And with that, she was gone, leaving him with the umbrella. As Naruto was left there, as more tears started to pool from his eyes, and now they were being shown fully, because the rain was not dropping on him anymore. A lightning split through the skies, illuminating the entire village. The thing was so bright it was like for a second there, the sun had risen, before it was gone. Time skip. As Naruto was currently making his way from the gate, as he had just said goodbye to Zana and her father. As Zana didn't want to go, as she wanted to stay here and play with him, but her father said that they had to go. The man had said his farewells, but as he told her to look forward for upcoming missions in the future. After all, from what he had seen so far, the boy has only gotten stronger and stronger, and he will only improve even more, as he knew that he will be hearing great things from him. As Naruto was currently making his way back now, as he remembered what Samui said to him, but he hadn't seen her the entire day. As he was making his way, he was about to turn a corner, when he almost bumped right into her. "Oh, there you are," she said. "I thought I would miss you." As he looked at her, she was actually leaving. When he started to talk to her, he never thought about, her actually going away. She nudged him, pushing him back into the small alley that was right there. "Hey, what are you..." He couldn't get to finish that sentence, as she planted her lips on his. A deep, warm kiss that lasted for a few seconds, but it seemed like it lasted for eternity, as he felt the rush. A feeling rushed through him. The both of them felt it. As she stepped away, he knew why she had pushed him so quickly. "Samui, we're leaving." "What are you doing?" said a voice. Laughter could be heard as Yujito saw the both of them. "Oh, so that is what's going on," she said, as she looked towards Samui. "Came to say goodbye to your boyfriend. It's gonna be a while before you two see each other again. But you will be seeing each other in the future," she said, as she winked at Naruto, as Naruto wondered what was she talking about. "We don't have time for this." As Samui turned back towards Naruto. "See ya," she said, as she started to walk away. As Naruto wondered, was it just gonna go off like that? Hey, wait! As he stepped out back in the pathway, only to nearly bump into the... Naruto paused. As the Raikage looked down at him, he gulped a bit at the man's tall stature. The man looked down at him. The man's presence alone was enough to make most people scared. But Naruto has been dealing with Cram on a daily basis now. And Cram had showed him what true bloodlust felt like. So, yeah, he wasn't even shaking the slightest as he looked at the Raikage. The man's face turned into a friendlier one though. "Naruto Uzumaki," he said. "You know, having the affinity that represents Kumo make you quite special," he said. Naruto knew that was a jab towards his village, as the man was saying that, lightning is basically originated from Kumo. "I look to hear great things from you in the future," he says. He extended his hand. That was quite surprising for a Kage to be shaking a Genin's hand. Naruto extended his hand as well, as Naruto sighed, as he knew what was going to happen. Naruto felt the man grip his small hand into his giant palm. As he felt the man adding pressure, the man put on a friendly face as he did it though. As Naruto had to exert every amount of willpower he had just to stop the man from crushing his hand. The man didn't smirk when he saw Naruto holding up. Great things indeed, he said, as he released Naruto's grip. Naruto placed his hand behind him, as it was killing him, but he pretended not to make it faze him. He simply nodded. Alright then, he said, as he started to move on. Samui turned back at him, as she winked, as Yujito looked towards her, as she put on a kissy face, as Samui just glared at her. As Naruto was really gonna miss her, as he wondered if he would ever see her again. And what was that thing that Yujito was talking about them seeing each other in the future? Something that was rather rare after all. But the Raikage was here for extra time for some reason. He shrugged as he didn't know why though, as he made his way off. He didn't really know what to do for the day. He supposed they would be starting missions so that they could help rebuild Konoha. Good evening, Uzumaki-san, said the old woman as she passed him. Yeah, good evening, said Naruto. Hey there, Mr. Uzumaki. 3 kids passed him as they said. Naruto was confused what the hell was going on. Ah, good evening, Uzumaki-san. People were greeting him as he passed by shops. Hey, as Naruto turned as he caught the apple. For you, the stall owner said. As Naruto wondered what the hell is going on. Suddenly, someone landed beside him without making a drop in his step. People, know that you were the one that stopped Shikaku when he went on his rampage. Let's just say they have a lot more respect for you. After all, you single-handedly take on a Biju by yourself, kid. That is quite an impressive act. As Naruto looked around, as people never used to acknowledge him this way before, so it was quite surprising. It's probably kind of overwhelming for you, kid, but don't worry. You'll get used to it, he said. Naruto simply nodded. So, you ready to go on a special mission with me? He asked. Special mission? Said Naruto confused. Yeah, to go and find the new Hokage. Wait, already? Said Naruto. We don't want to look weak in the eyes of other villages, right? Yeah, said Naruto. Well then, we're leaving to find the next Hokage. You coming? You know you should be happy, right? I personally asked for you to accompany me on this mission. You makes it sound like a big deal, like you're someone special, said Naruto. Jiraiya stepped back in shock. At least the kid was getting back some of his sense of humor. Do you know who I am? Jiraiya said. Of course. A white-haired pervert. No. Super pervert. See, that's exactly what I mean, said Naruto. Jiraiya simply strutted on. Go and get your stuff. Pack for at least a month trip. Wait, who's gonna be the new Hokage anyway? Meet me at the East Gate, said Jiraiya, as he quickly fled. Naruto sighed. He simply went off, as he wondered who was the new Hokage gonna be. And why did they have to go to find this new person? Why didn't they just come back to the village? And why did he have to go anyway? He simply shrugged. It would probably take his mind off the old man's death, not being here for some time. Despite everything, it was still painful. He knew Jiraiya must be feeling it as well, but he was putting on a strong face for the village. Well, that is what they all have to do at the point in time anyway. But his thoughts drifted towards Samui. He was really gonna miss her, as he headed towards his house. At the same time, she was thinking the same thing, as she and her group heading back towards Kumo. Well, from what Yujito told her, perhaps they would see each other again. Very soon, she thought to herself. She put on a smile as she headed off, as she knew that Yujito shouldn't have told her that, but she just needed to cheer the girl up because she did not tell the other two, and Samui could keep a secret. She smiled, yes indeed, as she reached up and touched her lips. She will see him again. And with that, they sped off towards their village. But guys, if you end episode right here, if you want to see these parts, do like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. But I'm off for now, see you guys soon. Peace.